Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants.
Take a picture of this woman here. Take a mental picture of this woman. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and what she has been saying. I've collected a number of videos to share with you today. Friends, you want to stay tuned for today's video. Who is this woman? This is Nida Farahany. All right, Nida Farahany is an American author, academic, and scholar focusing on ramifications of new technology on society, law, and ethics. Okay, you're gonna hear some stuff today from this woman. You know, I remember the first time we were talking about this man, Yuval Harari, and we said, man, this guy is extreme. He's saying some crazy things. Wait till you hear what this woman is saying. You think this man was bad. Listen, guys, this is not about scaring people. This is about warning people. And we need to be pushing back against these systems. And again, we do know what Bible prophecy teaches. Tyrants are going to rise. They're going to have these ideas and plans. But I'm going to show you today from the scripture and the spirit of prophecy, something that's been revealed that we oftentimes neglect. Now, take a listen to this man. For those of you who are familiar with him, this is what he says.
What do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. The idea of the social credit is to monetize everything, to give value to every single thing you do in life. It has positive potential in some regards. Most people will be willing to give up their privacy in exchange for much better healthcare based on 24 hours monitoring of what's happening inside their bodies. This is the end of human history. Not the end of history, the end of human-dominated history. History will continue with somebody else in control. AI can even write a new Bible. All the other books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. Human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story. Companies like Apple and Google will have tons and tons of data on your body, on your most private affairs and conditions. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. In order to collaborate on a large scale, you need to convince everybody to believe in the same story. The engine of history is stories. And they don't even need to be true.
Wow. And I told you it was bad, right? So you just heard this compilation, and that was terrible. I was having all kind of anaphylactic reaction here. I was just like, is he seriously saying that? Yes, he is. Now, you may be asking the question, what does that have to do with Bible prophecy? Oh, stay tuned. You thought he was bad. Wait till you hear what she has to say. Look at this. The Bible is talking about King of Tyre, and he switches and begins to address the power behind the King of Tyre, and that is the devil. It begins to describe here in the prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 28, Satan's characteristics. And as he goes through those different characteristics, and again, I got an entire study called Spiritual Warfare that I'm going to make reference to in a little bit. And again, this is the spiritual warfare. There are several things here. His original name was Lucifer, son of the morning. Lucifer is a created being. Jesus created Lucifer. Lucifer is a wise and intelligent being. Now, I want you to think about that very quickly because we're going to come here. Now, when you go to Ezekiel chapter 28, about verse 12, we have this verse. This is very crucial. It says, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom, perfect in beauty. You see that? Now, this is describing the power behind the king. Obviously, he was being led and inspired by Lucifer. So God just bypasses the king and addresses the authority behind him. And he's describing Lucifer's characteristics through the behavior of the king of Tyre. So now, what does that mean to fill up the sum? Friends, we're going to have a study today in a minute. But first, Let's listen to some of the claims from this woman. I'm going to sit here and react with you. Oh boy, brace yourself. It gets really interesting. Listen to what this woman is saying. This is the World Economic Forum. For those of you who don't know, this World Economic Forum, led by Klaus Schwab, and there are a number of big names that are in this movement. But one thing you need to know, majority of your policies that are in government that you are now experiencing was drafted by these merchantmen, rich men, lobbyists who are part of the World Economic Forum. These men move from these meetings in Davos, in Switzerland. They take these meetings and the concept and the ideas and the policies of these meetings, and they go and write laws and policies, and they use politicians to enforce them on the masses. So if you want to know where the world is heading, you need to pay attention to these people, because the rich and the powerful, the moneyed men, they are the ones who are making things happen. All right. When you hear the swamp, right? We are joining the swamp. Well, this is the swamp. This is it. Now, it's not just it. It's also religious systems that are in this thing. We can go even a little bit deeper, but do not take your eyes away from the moneyed men, because they are funding things and making things to happen. Now, that's why I'm talking about what's happening here. But I had never heard until earlier this morning what this woman has been saying. Okay, enough. Let's take a listen.
Wearable devices. So these are brain sensors that are starting to be embedded in everyday devices, but until now have been a number of niche companies that really have focused on mindfulness and meditation. The use of, for example, brain sensors that can pick up electrical activity in the brain at a pretty low resolution, but advances in AI have both improved what the signal is that can come from the brain and enabled the miniaturization of those products. As a lot of the major tech companies start to invest in these brain sensors, it's a huge, I think, untapped market in many ways of integrating them into everyday devices. These are earbuds or watches or headphones and the soft cups around the ears. Many of those products are hitting the market this year, and others are hitting them within the next 2 years, such that people can listen to music, a phone call, etc., while having those devices in ears. Initially, what they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? They maybe enable interaction like up, down, left, right for interaction with other technologies. And they're being embedded into things like virtual reality headset.
Did you hear this madness? High-level brain state reading. We're talking about your average headphones, the new ones that are coming out. We don't know which ones they are. They're gonna have these brain chips where they can monitor what's happening in your mind. Let me give you a picture of what these people are thinking, okay? So you see this, I'm pretty sure for those of you who's either been in nursing, hospital, who's anybody who had brain injury and so on, or who's had some kind of tumor, they tend to use this device to somewhat monitor the activities going on in the brain, the neurons, and the different atoms and so on. Now, you seeing that, you say, come on, that's a whole different ball game. But again, with these wearable devices, that's where they're going with this thing. That's what these people are thinking. Now, that was just video number one. Video number two gets even more interesting.
Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. After all, what you think, what you feel, it's all just data. Data that in large patterns can be decoded using artificial intelligence. We're not talking about implanted devices of the future. I'm talking about wearable devices that are like Fitbits for your brain. Earbuds, headphones, tiny tattoos that you can wear behind your ear. We can pick up emotional states like, are you happy or sad or angry? We can pick up and decode faces that you're seeing in your mind.
So what does that do with the people who harvest this level of information? Doesn't that give them power over the mind? Doesn't that give them the ability to look into the minds of men and determine human behavior? So if this could be done, why wouldn't some abuse it or even go against their enemy and manipulate human behavior according to their own self-interest. Why would people not abuse such a thing? Well, friends, that's where we're going. This woman is talking about brain devices that could even manipulate thoughts. You're going to see. Friends, this is the kind of technology we are dealing with.
In your mind. Simple shapes, numbers, your PIN number to your bank account. Meta acquired this company, Control Labs, in 2019 because major tech companies are investing in helping to make these devices universally applicable as the way in which we interact with the rest of our technology. In fact, the coming future, and I mean near-term future, is these devices being the primary way in which we interact with all of the rest of our technology. Rather than a mouse.
So if you don't have the device, you cannot use your average technology. What does that say? Well, you're being pushed to get along with it. Do you see where we're going, friends? This is serious control.
Or a keyboard, you can simply swipe with your mind. While we can't literally decode complex thought just yet, there's a lot that we can already decode that's quite relevant for the workplace environment.
Thank God that you can't. But if you look at brainwave patterns and you're able to determine what's happening in the mind, you can make prediction that might be accurate. Mercy.
In more than 5,000 companies across the world, employees are already having their brainwave activity monitored to test for their fatigue levels. Whether it's the Beijing-Shanghai line, where train conductors are required to wear hats that have sensors that pick up their brain activity, or mining companies throughout the world.
Can you imagine your boss comes to you and say, I'm looking at your brainwave activity this morning. You're not, what's going on? What's up with you? Have you ever had a bad day at work? Even though you had a bad day, you still got through the day by the grace of God? Well, they have the ability now to determine what's wrong with your behavior. Why are you having a bad day? And that can be used to write you up. That can be used to fire you.
Employees are already having their brain activity monitored, and it very well may be something that we want to embrace as a society.
I don't
Done
think so.
poorly, it could become the most oppressive technology we've ever introduced in a wide scale across society.
I don't know why she's smiling, thinking this is a good thing. I don't want you to read my brain activities. I don't want you to even input thoughts that you want in my brain.
We still have the chance to make it right.
Is that so? Okay, video number 3. It only gets worse. It keeps getting worse. All right, look at this one.
Interestingly, not just from neuroscience, but also from psychology, there's a wonderful researcher by the name of Elizabeth Loftus, who's done some really fascinating work looking at planting false memories. She has a great TED Talk on this.
No, you didn't hear that. Did you hear that? Planting false memories. What does that mean? You get to manipulate human consciousness. You get to play with people's thoughts. If somebody can play with your thoughts, if somebody can implant false memories in your mind, what's stopping them from using these false memories to manipulate behavior? And if they can manipulate behavior, they can also weaponize the law against you. If I can read your thoughts, if I can put thoughts in your mind that can mess with your belief system. Friends, this is diabolical. This is diabolical to the very core. This is where they're going with this technology. And friends, I have a video coming up about 6G. Listen, we're not talking about conspiracy theory. I'm going to take their own words and let you hear what they're saying. They're connecting this to 6G already. They're trying to move away from the phone to having the technology that is in your phone in a simple chip in your brain. Okay. Let me play that video for you right now.
Be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant?
Absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G. earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
6G will liberate human potential. It will transform the way we live, the way we work, connecting human worlds, physical worlds with digital worlds. And that will unleash new human possibilities.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think I think you can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some very long age.
Did you hear what he just said? That's what these people are thinking. Friends, we're talking about evil plot. We're talking about demonic manifestation. We're talking about wicked men in high places. All right, let's get back to our sister. I don't know if she's my sister in Christ or what, but she is confused.
And she has a great TED Talk on this as well, talking about planting of false memories, where she successfully, in a number of her experiments, has planted false memories, including people believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters, or that they've seen a stop sign that wasn't actually there, simply by manipulating images and stories that she tells to them, and then they come back into the lab, and they are convicted in their belief. And so there's some...
Wow. That's just so bad. And my thought is, if you can implant false memories, you can implant false belief, you can implant deception, you can implant criminal behavior, and the individual can commit all kinds of crimes. Oh, I'm going to show you in a future video. There's technologies not only where they can mess with the neurons in your brain, to the point where they can somewhat, because we know there's like all this electricity and stuff going on in our minds, and every decision you make, you raise your hands, you do this, it's all being controlled by the mind. These people are working on this type of technology that can actually control the minds of men. Not so much putting the thoughts. They can say, I want you to raise your hands, and your hands are raised. I want you to sit, and you sit. They're working on this level of technology. Friends, Jesus has to come soon. This is how far the devil is going with this thing. Now, let's keep going. Listen to what she says.
Really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. And in a different context, one of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain, I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that?
Instill pain? Are you serious? Can you imagine just sitting in your car, all of a sudden you have this massive pain because somebody behind a computer desk says, I want to hurt you. Boom, he pushes a button. Listen, that's power. That's like supernatural power. That's why these people are thinking. They want to be like God. That's literally where they're going with this. My goodness.
Many coercive measures in the legal system as well. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing. Like, it's a good thing. Excuse me. It's not amazing, not according to my conception. This is the last one. This is kind of like a summary of some of the things you've heard, and a few other thoughts as well. Lord help us.
Every camera you walk past that is integrated with AI systems increasingly can decode mental states.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
Those products are hitting the market this year. What they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad?
One of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain. I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that in many coercive measures in the legal system as well?
We can pick up and decode faces that you're seeing in your mind. Simple shapes, numbers, your PIN number to your bank account.
So, you've seen that, you heard that. That's only one woman. We can't keep throwing videos of different individuals to prove. One good thing that I'm happy about, we are living in a time today with the use of technology and knowledge has been increased, and God is allowing all of it to be exposed. And if somebody falls for the deception, it's not because the Lord is not telling us. I think the fact they're recording themselves, they're talking, they're letting you know, none of us should be caught off guard. Thank the Lord for that truth. But now, why is this happening? Again, we're still talking about that surveillance system. We're still talking about that system that follows you everywhere, big brother government. We're talking about Revelation 13 verses 15 to 17, no buying and selling system. That is what's being built. Okay. And I can show you, I found out some even darker stuff about the data centers. Those data centers are going to play a role in collecting those information in the brain. They play a role for that. The data centers are here so that when you save your Facebook images, that's a lie. That's only part of the truth. It's much worse than that. Okay. So now let me go back to that text that I shared with you earlier. What does that mean that Lucifer sealed up the sum? Full of wisdom. Well, full of wisdom should give it up already. But seal up the sum. I got an entire study on spiritual warfare that I will encourage you. You can watch on my channel. If you just go to my playlist, you will find it. Seal up the sum. Okay, this is a military term, which means kakmo. The word kakmo is a military term for military skill, skillful in war, skillful in administration, skillful in religious affair, and skillful in all sciences. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because Lucifer seals up the sum, showing to you and I, my dear friends, he has been given deep level of information and wisdom. And what I also mean from the perspective of the Almighty, there was nothing else God could have added to the wisdom that he has given Lucifer. He sealed up the sum. He makes up the full amount of the whole for a created being. That's a whole not a knowledge. Now, he fell. Lucifer became Satan, the opposer. Now he's using this knowledge to corrupt mankind. But what sort of knowledge is he into? Look what I said at the bottom here. He is skillful in all 633 sciences. That number might be different today. This is like a 3-year-old study. But here is the thing. Now, I would highly recommend the reading of this chapter, Satan's Special Effort. She shares in that chapter 12 of Messages to Young People. If Satan should make an open, bold attack upon Christianity, it will bring the Christian in distress and agony at the feet of his Redeemer. He knows that, but watch this. And the strong and mighty deliverer would affright the bold adversary away. But Satan transforms into an angel of light, works upon the mind to allure the only safe and right path. How does he do this? 3 sciences. The sciences of phrenology, psychology, and mesmerism have been the channel through which Satan has come more directly to this generation and wrought with that power which was to characterize his work near the close of probation. What are the 3 sciences he's using? Phrenology. Now, this is the study of bumps on the head. Satan carefully study the faces, the reaction, so that he can determine behavior. This is interesting. The second thing is psychology. You should know it's all about the study of the mind and the psyche. He pays attention to that. And mesmerism. This is an old term. Sometimes it is referred to as animal mesmerism. But this is what we call hypnosis today. During the phase of hypnosis, this hypnotic phase, you are being able to be controlled, right? Thoughts can be placed in your mind. You can start saying things and you cannot remember. It is mind over mind, a man's mind over yours. That is the concept. But again, this is why Satan takes these sciences very seriously. Then, with that in mind, you can better understand why these people are talking like this. They are doing the devil's bidding, friends. This is about mind control mechanism. Friends, the more I see what these people are saying, and again, I'm not in a state of fear. The scripture tells us, it's pretty interesting. Let's read it. Psalm chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves together and the rulers to counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds asunder and cast away their cords from us. And then what does God do? He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. God laughs. He said, you guys are, is that what you're going to do? To go against me and to also go against my people? He laughs. What did the Lord says? The Lord shall have them in derision. Yes. You know, the interesting thing, the same people who are talking about these brain wave mechanism devices to control human consciousness, to input whatever thoughts or false ideas in your mind, do they realize that they themselves are going to be subjected to the same system? Do they know what's good for the goose is also good for the gander? Do they realize that people will tend to use that against them? What if their conviction changed down the road and they want to change their minds? Do they realize they themselves become a slave to the very same system that they have helped to build? Anyway, friends, this I wanted to bring to your mind. The more I see stuff like this, the more I see the need, friends, to pray for a country home and live simple lives. And I'm not saying we should rush into things. As doors are open, make your move. But friends, pray for this. Build a system where God's people can be made safe, because these individuals are very, very serious. They're talking about this year. You're going to start seeing headphones where this stuff can actually take place.
And the soft cups around the ears, many of those products are hitting the market this year, and others are hitting them within the next.
This is where we're going. May the Lord have mercy on us and help us to get ready by the grace of God. Thank you for listening. Share your thoughts in the comment below. Do you think I'm stretching this matter? Do you think this is crazy? Have you heard about this before? What are some counsel would you like to share with me and also God's people? If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you go over and watch this video. There's going to be a link for you right here at the end of this video to myself and Scott Ritzema having a really interesting conversation about technocracy, AI, and so on. Very insightful. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.